to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, North Motor City Madmouth. Great crew lined up. We have Marvin, we have Candy, we have Jacob, we have Scott, and we have Tommy. All right. Obviously, those are the introductions. I know we want to get to an awful lot, and so let's get right to it. First of all, we'll start off with a non-sport topic. Disney lost 1.7 million subscribers during Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. This comes from KTLA. Marvin, some thoughts about Jimmy Kimmel and what took place over there.
Well, it's not the 1.3 million subscriptions. It's the $50 a month that those subscribers are paying that hit them hard, man. This whole thing with Trump, intervening and trying to use his force and influence, it hurt Disney, hurt him bad. And now they got to try to recoup. I think it's like $300 million or something like that they lost. You know what I mean? Their stock fell, and yeah, it was horrible, man. So hopefully they can refrain from bowing down to political pressure. Unfortunately, 45, 47 has a lot of power, a lot of influence, and you see these major corporations impacted. You know what I'm saying? Just fearful of how he can impact them. So Jimmy Kimmel he has a huge following. When he came back, it was they had big numbers. Hopefully they can recoup that money, man, but they took a hit.
Candy.
It's amazing because he was suspended for less than a week in mid-September. And the amount of cancellations that they're saying that the churn rate's doubling and millions of cancellations, although they also saw some new signups as well, leading to a debate over the net impact of and highlighting cultural issues affecting business. There's going to be a lot of studies being done on, the cancellations that they suffered during Jimmy Kimmel's suspension.
Tommy?
I've been watching him more than ever now. And the commentary he has on Trump each night is just hits the nail on the head every day about what a con man this guy is and what a petty, pathetic person he is. And it's great to see the public respond the way it did. It just makes Bezos and Zuckerberg and all these other guys who are just chasing a dollar look more and more like cowards. All these Republican congressmen and senators, they're all cowards.
Tony, tell you what, I'll repeat it since you made it. Good to see you, Tone. Okay. Disney lost 1.7 million subscribers when Jimmy Kimmel was suspended. Any thoughts on this?
It just shows the power of the people when they unite. And it shows that we can affect the dollar. And those companies care a lot about the dollar. So if a group of people can show how much they care about a certain thing, we can hit them where it hurts.
Jacob?
Tommy, I'll bring one part. This is a two-part thing I'm going to say on this. I'll bring one part onto the deal. The thing that hate doesn't hurt Trump, Tommy. Hate doesn't. Ignoring him hurts him. Ignoring him hurts him. Hate and bringing him up all the time, it doesn't. Bringing him up all the time just helps him. He just, as much as he complains and gripes and everything, the thing that helps him the most is continuing to keep his name out there. I brought up a hashtag a little while back called Ignore47. I wish it would continue. But the biggest thing I think about is Johnny Carson during the time saying that he doesn't want to lose 50% of his audience. The one talk show that understands and tries to do and goes as minor as possible. Yeah, make fun of Trump all day long. The guy's well worth it, but make fun of everybody. The one that figures that out and does real comedy and does everything like that will be number one by 50 million miles. And as far as Disney goes, it is like Target. Target had the whole thing with the with the whole swimsuits for the trans, and then people threw a fit, and then they gave up their stuff, and then they caved in, and then guess what? The left side of the wing, once they caved in on that, gave that up. So then they're in trouble. Target's trouble. So is Disney. Make up your mind and do your thing. Which audience are you going to get? That's all I have to say with that.
Scott?
Donald Trump is by far the worst president journalists and media have ever had. I am a First Amendment absolutist. Anytime you try to crush the First Amendment or bend it in any sort of way, shape, or fashion, I'm dead against it. As far as I'm concerned, Donald Trump is the worst. Disney deserves what they got because they put up with it. I hope they lose more money.
I like your outspoken opinions, Scott. Great stuff, man. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, the Brooklyn Nets have advised Michael Porter Jr. to steer clear of certain types of topics when he does podcasts. His response, for the most part, is, "I'm chilling. I'm not trying to say anything crazy anymore." Current Packer and Micah Parsons was very active when it came to doing podcasts. All right, Marvin, what are your thoughts about the Nets telling Michael Porter Jr. to cool it?
Can you imagine employers telling their employees, hey, listen, all you guys who grew up in the digital age and post 2000 who have YouTube channels and all this, stop doing all that. All right, stop doing it and stop talking about this, stop talking about that. That's how I look at this. What right do the Brooklyn Nets have to tell their employee, what he can do on his off time in regards to how he makes money? We live in the digital age. He makes money online. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's just hogwash, to be honest with you. On the other end, I understand that this is a major corporation. He's the face of their organization. And what they don't want is him saying something or being a part of anything that can have a negative impact on him, their brand, their ability to play him, trade him, or whatever they're going to do. They're afraid of drama. They're afraid of the circus coming to town because their young, outspoken superstar may say something. I get their perspective, but they're definitely over the line on this. Let that man make his money like everybody else. And the last thing I want to see are, in new CBA, see NBA players not allowed to have podcasts or not allowed to do certain things on social media. It's a real slippery slope. I understand it, but I think they're in the wrong for that.
Katie?
This is a tough topic because as an employer or being employed by certain entities, businesses, do they have the right to tell you what you can talk about on a podcast or outside of your normal hours? But you do represent that organization even in your off time. And I get, to a certain extent, the Brooklyn Nets telling him what they have told him. Now, with that being said, because of social media, so many things can get blown up. The other thing that we have seen is it's so easy to edit videos and things, and that's where we really get into problems, because now I can go out there and edit a video and make it seem like somebody said something and maybe they said the complete opposite because I split it and took out a no or something else. So it's just really hard in this new digital age of media to say what you can and can't say, but I can see both sides.
What do you think, Tommy?
I was just looking up to see who the owner of the Nets is. Joe Tsai, Taiwanese Canadian billionaire. I would think any guy from Taiwan would understand, what an autocratic country run by an autocrat. I hope he sticks to his guns, Porter. Nobody told. I don't know how much weight he has behind him. I'm sure another team would pick him up. But Bill Russell always spoke his mind. Kareem always spoke his mind. Bill Walton always spoke his mind. You weren't going to get rid of those guys. So I hope he sticks to his guns.
Tony?
Yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope telling anybody to not, speak their mind freely. But Michael Porter Jr. is in a unique situation where his brother is one of the first, and it looks like many or a few that are coming down there for sports gambling. And I know that has been a topic on podcasts that he's been on. And, you know, you just don't want to be, that's your brother, you know what I'm saying? So you're already close to the situation. You kind of want to steer clear from even talking about it and maybe slipping up and saying the wrong thing. He has said certain things about like the LGBT community, and I feel like, you know, whatever with that. But I think most of it is about the sports gambling, and that's why it's came up now recently, now that the NBA is cracking down on that. They want to make sure that he's just not out there talking freely since he's so close to that situation.
Jacob.
You know what started this whole thing when we saw it on the news in the first place? The biggest thing that started it is the fact that he said that WNBA players would not stand themselves a chance if they drove into the lane on NBA players. Sophie Cunningham agreed with him. But all of a sudden, everybody's throwing a fit over it. But meanwhile, you know what we've had in the last week or so? We had Nick Kyrgios absolutely annihilate the number one women's player in the world, and it gave her 3 games. I mean, they even had all the rules in the world to make it. She got one serve. They both got served, but she had wider thing, all that, and he annihilated her. And we've seen this, and it was strength. And it doesn't mean she's any less of a number one. It is the fact that Michael Porter was telling the truth of the strength of men versus women, and the NBA is just scared to death. Scared to death. And that's what caused all this. And it is like, they need to get the reality of all this. It doesn't make the WNBA any less. It doesn't make them any less athletes. It's called biology.
Scott.
Unless he is directly adversely affecting the Brooklyn Nets brand, the logo, the team, they have no right to interfere with what he has to say on his podcasts. He has every right to go ahead and speak his mind. Again, that's the First Amendment absolutist in me coming out. But who are they to say that he can't talk about the WNBA and they can't drive through the lane? They can't. It's just not possible. You think Caitlin Clark's going to be able to drive through the lane against, even if you take one of the rookies?
Let's just say it, Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, you think she's going to be able to get past him? She'll be laying on the floor for a month.
Exactly.
He's entitled to say what he wants, and I'm going to fight for it.
Good.
I don't think there's a lot to fight for. I have a feeling it'll be traded by the deadline anyways, but I understand that. But keep in mind what Candy said, though. These things should definitely go ahead and be edited as well. So I understand where the club is trying to protect what they're doing, but the Nets need to focus not on his podcast. They need to make sure they put together a pretty good product on the field or court so that the Barclays Center is definitely filled up is what they need to do. So with that said, we're going to go to another non-sports topic, one that I actually really go by. And we're going to talk about the Skechers story a little bit. And here's this. A lot of people, I tell you, I wear them. I spend a ton of money on those shoes. That's the only way I can get by with my busted up knees and ankles. So let's have a little bit of fun with this topic. Skechers, they don't sign expensive sports stars. What they actually do, instead, they use celebrities like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera in the early 2000s. The goal wasn't mass appeal, not niche prestige. Let's continue on. By the mid 2000s, Skechers shifted focus again, this time to comfort. They launched that relaxed fit and memory foam shoes. It worked. Sales exploded. Skechers kept prices low and style simple. Their shoes weren't flashy, but they were comfortable, durable, and affordable. That's what people wanted. They also built a strong retail presence. Instead of relying on big stores, Skechers opened its own branded outlets. God only knows. Candy and I have been there a few times. More control, more margin. In 2012, they launched the Go Walk, a walking shoe line focused on comfort. It became one of the best-selling products ever. They kept innovating, but only when it matched their brand. Continue on. Today's Skechers sales they sell in 170 countries. They move more pairs than most high-profile sneaker brands, all without the hype. As we continue, while others chase limited drops and endorsements, Skechers focuses on families, workers, and older adults. The strategy made them a global powerhouse. Skechers proved that you don't need to be cool to be successful. You need to understand your customer and deliver what they want. From founder to $8 billion brand, Robert Greenberg didn't try to beat Nike. Okay, he built something that was totally different and it worked. So with that said, I've given you everything. Marvin, what are your thoughts about Skechers?
To me, sounds like a lesson in how to survive, how to evolve. Skechers did a phenomenal job of that. And because they're right, all the marketing, all you see and hear are these big name athletes and the Nikes and the Reeboks, and the Adidas. Addressing the senior market is huge. That's a huge market, period. I've been there before. And I think Nike's perceived as expensive by definitely senior groups, I would say. So Skechers coming in there, taking advantage of that is genius. Changing the shoe, evolving the shoe, giving, trying to stay within a certain price point makes a lot of sense in a world where you got brand new shoes selling for thousands of dollars, Yeezys and Jordans. I mean, it's unbelievable what they're going for. Again, a lesson in survival. Kudos to Skechers.
Candy?
So part of the advertisements that they have done, they have included baseball player Clayton Kershaw, boxer Sugar Ray Leonard, American football players Joe Montana, Tony Romo, Howie Long, Chris Carter. Since 2010, Skechers has been a regular Super Bowl advertiser. One of the other things I'll say is the performance has featured distance runners, professional golfers. The brand expanded into pickleball in 2022, signing several of the sport's top players and sponsoring the first nationally televised pickleball tournament in the U.S. And we know that has really grown. In 2023, Skechers announced a move into soccer and basketball and introducing new technical shoes worn and promoted by England national football team player Harry Kane and NBA players Julius Randle, Terrence Mann, and Joel Embiid. In 2024, Skechers replaced Nivea Sports as the kit sponsor of one of India's oldest and most successful football teams. I can tell you from a personal experience, I am somebody that for a lot of my day, I'm standing on my feet. And I can tell you I've worn all kinds of different shoes, and I've often had come home with feet problems, my legs ached. I switched to Skechers a couple years ago, and I no longer have any pain. I come home, my feet don't ache, my legs don't bother me. So I will stand by their shoes, knowing that I stand on my legs all day and don't have problems now that I've switched to Skechers.
All right, Tommy, not trying to sell you some shoes, but boy, these are pretty good. I'm living proof of them. I have to. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, I've taken a beating over the years, but these are pretty good.
Yeah, they have a good advertising campaign. Howie Long ones stick out in my mind. If they can cut into Nike's market, great. I've been anti-Nike ever since Michael Jordan said Republicans buy shoes too, when he was asked to endorse a candidate running against Jesse Helms, a North Carolina senator who was a segregationist. And Jordan couldn't stand up and do anything but say Republicans buy shoes too.
Great stuff. Tony?
I'm with Marvin, man. It's definitely a lesson of survival. It's cool to see what Skechers have become to like a cool, popular shoe. Once you get Snoop Dogg involved, I got an 8-year-old daughter, and one day she saw Snoop Dogg on TV and said, I know it's a big deal now. Okay, so once you get Snoop Dogg involved, you're doing something big in Skechers. And what like Candy echoed and read, like Candy read, now they are going into the sports. I see Julius Randle wear his shoes. Joel Embiid is a former MVP wearing his shoes. Terrence Mann is not just another guy. He's a starting point guard in the league. So kids being able to see NBA players wearing those shoes that's going to get them into more of the cool factor as well. Yeah, Scott, you got some work to do once the show's over. Hope you know that.
She's used to, and she knows I'm a very tough person to look after with all the aches and pains I have. Right, Solomon. After all, he gets the updates from the boss lots of times. Solomon knows firsthand. But yeah, no. What else can I say? Anything you want to add to it, Tony? You're really a rising star on this platform.
I appreciate
Take note of that, Scott.
But no, that's all. That's it. Just them getting these NBA players. That's the transition into them probably taking more of a step into the NBA now and athletes.
Okay, Jacob.
Well, for one thing, some of the names that you named, Joe Montana, Tony Romo, all of those, Howie Long, older people, older athletes, their feet are absolutely crushed. They need the comfort. Now you bring up Joel Embiid and Julius Randle. Their feet are ridiculous. You don't know who else you should probably get if he wasn't with the On product, Roger Federer, but he's got his own thing that he's invested in On. You've got those. It's like tennis players you should see more because their feet are destroyed. So really by itself, this is the thing. Skechers had an understanding that older people live longer now, so you got to get it toward the older people. You couldn't have had it for Grandpa Walton back in the 1920s. He died at 66 years old. Now everybody's living to 80 and 90, and they're all walking and they're doing. I mean, you're seeing. I brought up Grandpa Walton dying at like 66 years old. 66-year-olds are now doing American Ninja Warrior. Different world, different day. So Skechers understood this a long time ago, and they understand it now.
Okay. Scott?
The thing I like about Skechers' advertising campaign is they're not in your face. They advertise their product, but they don't constantly barrage you with their shoes. And they have, if this guy wears them, then you want to wear them because you want to be cool. You want to be like Mike. They don't get into that. I know my parents both wear Skechers and swear by them. Hoka's probably just as nice. They're more expensive, but Skechers makes a great product, and they stand by their product. We brought a couple pairs back that were just bad fits, and they took them back. And you're right; they do use older athletes because they're appealing to older people, and I think it's nice.
I hope you're not saying I'm old, Scott.
Well, I might say that. No, I was kidding.
I'm staying out of that.
The one other thing I would like to say is that their headquarters is in Manhattan Beach, California. So they have 5,296 locations. Their total assets are $8.45 billion, approximately over 20,000 employees that they employ. And Skechers was founded in 1992 by Robert Greenberg, who had previously founded LA Gear back in 1983.
Great stuff. Leave it to our statistician, Candy. All right, well, let's continue on.
One last thing, they do donate new shoes to children in need worldwide through its Bob's Charity Program and through Head Start programs. They've in 2024 they donated $20,000 to Austin High School men and women's soccer teams. So they do philanthropy as well.
Okay, let's continue on. Russell Westbrook, actually, how much does he love the NBA? I'll tell you what, the NBA offered him $3.6 million to play 82 games. China offered him $10 million for a 20-plus game. You think China wanted him bad, Marvin? I would say so.
Listen, in America, where you're taught to get money, everything's about money. It's celebrated in pop culture and hip hop and all the things that a lot of these young guys listen to. The fact that he turned down $10 million to take $3 million and did it not to go to LA or New York or go play for a contender, to go to the Sacramento Kings. The fact that he turned that money on to go to the Kings tells you this guy is serious about, NBA basketball. He loves playing in the league at the highest level. It's the best basketball in the world. The opportunity to play in the league. And, at the beginning of the year, everybody's talking about, we're going to win a championship. But obviously, with Sacramento Kings, you look at their roster and their makeup, they're not built for that. This guy knew that a tough year was coming. And yet, if you watch him play, this guy's playing it all out. He's giving you great minutes. He's moving up the charts in regards to triple doubles. And there's nothing about him that you would know. I mean, he's in his 17th year. You know what I'm saying? This guy's in his mid to late 30s. That's old for basketball. It's really old, But this guy's giving you high quality minutes. He's still giving you high effort. And this is what fans should love to see. There's so much negative press about players and money and this and that. This is a guy who, at the end of the rope, is taking pretty much minimum wage to play the game he loves, and he's playing it at a high level. So he's a great story, great role model for kids. Even though he went to UCLA, I can say that I admire this dude, and I'm a fan.
Okay, Candy.
He is a 9-time NBA All-Star. He has a wife and 3 children, 1 son and twin daughters. I understand him probably taking less money to stay here instead of uprooting his whole family and moving them. Even if it is less money, he's probably earned how much money already. And if he's smart and has invested it, it'll last for him and his family, that he doesn't need the difference.
Tommy.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. More power to him. I don't really have much to add to it.
That's okay. No problem. Got a few other things you're going to have plenty to say on it in a few minutes.
Anybody that would turn down that money, more power to him.
Okay, Tony.
Everything I've seen from Russell Westbrook shows that he's family first. So like him being able to stay, even though it is Sacramento, I feel you, Marvin, but he's still in California where he's from. That's a whole lot closer than China. Someone who he's made the Supermax contract a couple of times, so he's made a lot of money in the NBA. At least one contract was over $200 million. I know you want to make as much as possible, but if anybody can afford to take the pay cut, he's one of the people who can, especially with family being first for him. I think that was probably the deciding factor more than anything. But I will say this, me personally, I'm going to China. I'm playing those 20 games, and then I'm coming back as a free agent to the NBA. I'm double dipping.
Smart businessman, Tony. All right, Jacob.
Now, here's the thing with Russell Westbrook for a second. This reminds me of the story of Darryl Strawberry when he was making his comeback. 200 some odd teams didn't take him, and he finally got an independent league to take him. He hits 435, and he gets a chance again with the Yankees. That's what Westbrook would be if he was in China. He'd probably average 45, 50 points a game. It's just there is no comparative to the talent of that stuff. He'd blow it away. It's not even close. He's considered smaller in the league, and he'd blow them away on that. It's just a different world, different style, different everything. And that's the issue that I would say with this. He knew it himself. Look what he's doing now. Look at what he's doing with these guys now. They didn't, okay, he got to the Sacramento Kings, big deal and stuff like that. It shows he can still play. If he's still scoring the way he is and doing anything the way he is, what would he do in China? He knew it, and he didn't want to be away from his family. It wouldn't be worth it, and he's got the money.
Scott?
The thing that he wanted most was the ability to play. He didn't want to be the last guy on the bench. He didn't want to come in during mop-up time. He didn't want to go out that way. He wanted to go to a place like Sacramento where he can play major minutes, start on occasion, and get into the rotation. That's why he went to Sacramento. It had nothing to do with money. It had nothing to do with China. It was the fact that he wanted to play valuable minutes in the NBA. And you got to take your hat off to him. He went to a team that won 8 games already.
So, Jacob, how much time do you have left?
Till 10 o'clock on the dot.
Oh, till 10 on the dot. Okay, we have time then. All right, well, let's remember Florence Griffith Joyner. You talk about the Olympics coming up. Candy, give us a little bit of background about Florence Griffith Joyner. We'll come back in a moment. Marvin, is there anything that stands out to you about this woman? I know she was a courageous woman and
Yeah.
a very inspiring individual.
Yeah, Olympic champion, fashionista, always had unique custom outfits. I feel like the nails. I mean, she had them. She had nails that were like a couple inches long. Out there competing at a very high level. Had a really unfortunate death. Passed away young, and I mean, one of the greatest sprinters of all time. I think she got caught up in some of those scandals with performance enhancing drugs. I don't know. I don't know if it was proven or not, but that was the big narrative around her. But just an amazing athlete, and I recall the interviews and her presentation. I mean, she always presented herself great and just gratitude and positivity. And I just remember her as a champion. That's what I remember. It's a dominant champion.
Candy?
U.S. Track and Field inducted her into its Hall of Fame back in 1995. In 2000, the 102nd Street School in Los Angeles was renamed Florence Griffith Joyner Elementary School. She was obviously a great American track and field athlete, the fastest woman ever recorded, setting world records in the 100 meters and the 200 meters back in 1998. During the late 1980s, she became a popular figure due to both her record-setting athleticism and her personal style, like Marvin was talking about, and then her nails and stuff like that. But yeah, she was in the Olympic gold. She got gold in 1998 for the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the 4x100 meters. She took silver in the 84 Los Angeles in the 200 meters, silver in 1988 in Seoul in the 4x400. And she had in 1987 she won a gold world championship for the 4x100 and silver for the 200. She was born and raised in California, and from a young age, she began running track meets as a child. She attended California State University Northridge and the University of California, Los Angeles. She continued to compete in track and field while still in college. She qualified for the 1980 Olympics, but did not compete due to the U.S. boycotting. But she made her Olympic debut 4 years later, winning a silver medal in the 200 meter in 84. She abruptly retired in February of 89, but she remained a pop culture figure through endorsement deals, acting, and designing. And in 1998, at age 38, she died in her sleep during an epileptic seizure caused by a birth defect.
Oh, Earl Kinsey sums it up best in the chat. When she was a model on the track, she was super fast. She was great. All right. So, Tommy, some thoughts about this legendary woman who obviously made a lot of memories and was the class of the Olympics and won a lot of championships.
Yeah, if you look around American track and field now, there's so many stylish women, talented, stylish women. She was the forerunner for all that. However, as Marvin alluded to, it was 1988. That was Ben Johnson getting busted for steroids in Seoul. Right. So track and field hadn't really picked up on what was going on with their testing. Right. And her times dropped so dramatically. As great as she was, as good a person she was, delightful person, it's hard not to believe she wasn't on steroids.
Yeah, I agree with you. Tony?
Yeah, it's always sad when such a great athlete just has a stain like on their resume, such as that. But it's hard to think about the record not being broken and we have bigger, stronger, faster women in 2025, and that's still standing. But I still just look at her as the iconic figure. The nails, you're never going to forget the nails. And clean, she's one of the greatest athletes that America's ever produced, but we'll never really know. You know, the speculation is terrible.
Jacob?
I'm not calling it a stain. She still had to work. I'm just being honest. She still had to work at it. And I will say this. Michael Johnson wanted to bring out track with this professional track league, and it's about out of business. It's almost broke. They can't even pay their athletes. No. Here's the thing that would have made track huge. If she got to live through the time of what we see now with Instagram and TikTok and all of these, and she could be able to get on those areas and get all those type of things, get millions of people watching about how to do her nails, what kind of nails you get, and the styles and all that kind of stuff. Because the one thing about it is, unlike all the others that are stylish and everything that you all brought up, she would have gotten on there proudly and happily. They don't do that in the same boat as she would have. So she would have made track even bigger if she was able to live. She would have done it. It's like what Michael Johnson's wanting to do is understandable, but that's not the way. She would have had the way.
Scott?
Flojo was one of the greatest of all time, but it must be killing Marvin talking about another UCLA athlete. She was in my Olympic history. She's the greatest female track athlete that there was. Maybe ever will be. I don't know.
No doubt questioning her legendary status. This woman was amazing. We have a topic designed for Jacob. After all, he made this one famous for all the right or wrong reasons. But Audie Crooks has scored double digits in her last 80 games. Jacob, can anybody stop your best friend, Audie Crooks?
No. And one thing that I brought up in the whole thing, everybody around here wasn't here when we had this, okay? It's like, no, everybody had seen this. And my very final show here before I took a little bit of a break was about Audie Crooks. It was one of our bigger ratings, too. It caused all kinds of intense hate and all that kind of stuff until they apologized to me for the point I was making, which was the fact that she did have a little too much weight on her. She was awesome, and I wanted her to be all right. You know what she did the next year? And it wasn't because of me. She doesn't know who I am. She lost about 35 pounds, and she's getting even better. And you know something? And as she gets to the WNBA, she's going to lose more, and she's going to gain muscle on that. The reason I was all over her like that, the way I was, had nothing to do just plainly with the weight. That's too surface level. The reason I was like that is because I've seen it with so many athletes that want to play this political game or say, oh, I want them for the big girls or whatever. Then they bust their knees up. And then the only one I know of is Taylor Townsend, who didn't bust her knees up, but then she didn't get as far as she wanted to other than doubles. Then she lost weight a little too late. And that's the point I'm making. I'm not doing it for a surface level or the man versus woman thing. I'm doing it because they can destroy their knees over a long time. She's an awesome player. There was never a doubt of that. I've always said she was an awesome player. I just didn't want her to bust her knees up before her time. And it looks like she's going to do even more things in the WNBA and get more fit. And just wait till that happens.
Anybody else want to add to the Audie Crooks story?
Audie Crooks still has some physical work to do. When I watched him play Baylor, you might not be able to stop her offensively, but you can take advantage of her defensively.
Okay.
Not great movement.
All right, let's continue.
Can I just say she was a four-star recruit as she left the state's all-time leader in field goals made, as well as the state tournament's all-time leader in points and rebounds. She also won 4 state titles in track and field, including 3 straight in the shot put.
Okay. Great stuff. All right, let's continue on. I have one for Tommy, all right? There's a portal commit that Michigan State University has landed. He's an all-FCS center named Trent Fraley over Penn State and FSU, this guy, Tommy. And the son of Detroit Lions coach Hank Fraley allowed just 1 sack and 825 pass block snaps at North Dakota State. So what your thought about this addition, Tommy, to the Spartans?
Yeah, well, North Carolina State has been a FCS power for a long time. They not only win games at their level, they've been sending players to the NFL for a long time. And the Spartans, they've been suffering with their offensive line for 3-4 years now. So Pat Fitzgerald is addressing the one of the most important rebuilds he faces. They brought in three. This week he would be the third offensive lineman they brought in from the transfer portal.
Yeah, so it's obviously a big. Anybody else want to add to it, Marvin?
I was just being honest. I was thinking these are two irrelevant programs. No one's talking about North Carolina State or Michigan State on any level. This is good for the kid, and I hope he does well. I mean, they're not going to the playoffs, so yeah. I'm just.
No, I haven't tell you. Don't kid yourself. North Dakota State's a powerhouse in FCS. They really are.
Well, no, I mean, listen, I'm talking the big picture. I mean, we're looking at the Final Four. We're heading into this weekend with Miami and Indiana, Oregon. Listen, that whole thing with North Dakota State, they have a great program for their level. I like what they do for that level. It's football. Those guys love the game. They send guys to the pros. We've seen a few, but I mean, if you ain't talking about the playoffs and the Orange Bowl and the Rose Bowl and the I'm just saying, guys.
Okay. Got a topic design? Anybody else? Okay. We got one for Scott. Okay. Ready? Scott, Jai Lucas, and you're going to be seeing him next week, I believe, down in Miami, right? Actually,
Yes.
got the Hurricanes off to a 10-2 start with a win over rival FIU, despite not returning a single player from last year's roster. Lucas has them completely turned around the program in their first season at the helm. Scott, some thoughts about the Hurricanes basketball program.
Well, it's hard to talk Hurricane basketball on the eve of the biggest game they'll play in 23 years, but I'm going to do it for you, Scott.
Thanks.
The reason is that Jay Lucas is a fantastic recruiter. He gutted that roster. He got rid of the deadwood, and he brought in guys that know how to play. And they're working on their chemistry. They're still 10-2. They had a hard loss to Florida, but there's no shame in losing to Florida in basketball. They're the defending national champions. And he really has that team going in the right direction.
Anybody else want to add to this?
Jay Lucas, right? Jay Lucas, right? You said?
Yeah.
Jay Lucas,
Yeah. Yeah. Lucas, Kurt Signetti. You don't want to know. They're the new type of coach for this generation, for this era. And what I mean by that is the things that took 4 years for someone like Bob Knight or Judd Heathcote or all those guys to do with one team, they're able to do it in months. And they're teaching an idea of efficiency. They're teaching the idea of efficiency and getting it done faster and allowing them to learn and see the court or see the field quick and be able to do this and do it. But knowing it, they have to do it faster because they might be gone the next year. So they have this understanding that a lot of other coaches don't right now.
I don't want to take anything away from Jimmy Larinaga, but he wasn't ready for the NIL evolution. He didn't want to have any part of that. Okay. I was at his final press conference before he left Miami, and he basically said, I'm not ready for this game. This is a totally different game for me. I'm not used to paying players.
All right. Well, makes
So,
sense.
Jay Lucas comes in. He knows what they want. He knows the budget he has, and he uses it wisely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Anybody else want to add to this?
I was just going to say he
add
was
on.
at Duke the last 3-4 years. So, and then before that, he was at Kentucky and Texas. So he knows what a top of the line program looks like.
Yeah,
Great
especially
stuff, Tommy.
in this era, because Duke is one and done Central right now. Kentucky's been one and done Central and moving players around for the last 10 years. And basketball is now just pick and roll. Like, it's not a lot of plays being ran. So it's easy to get these kids who play AAU with 4 or 5 different teams to kind of get together now and, get cohesive pretty quickly.
No, it's
Well, I know that.
it's a long 3-point shot. It's a 3-point shot, long rebound, go down to the other court.
That's it.
Miss 3-point shot, long rebound, go down to the
Yeah.
other end.
Yeah.
No. 3-point shot, miss. Longer 3-point shot, miss. Rebound, 3-point shot, miss. 3-point shot 2 minutes later, make.
Okay. I have one topic I want everybody to talk about, or two, real quick, if you don't mind stretching me for about 5 minutes or so. I know y'all have to get off at close to 10, but these are important. And then after this topic or so, I'm going to have the Shanahan report and pundit. Can you guys hang with me for a little bit on these topics because they're really, really important? One of which Norm Nixon thinks the younger generation of NBA player will never understand how tough it was to play in the 80s because of racial inequality. All right, Tommy, what are your thoughts of this one?
Well, the first thing I thought about was what's his name? Porter said. I didn't know this about Porter and the women's game, so I kind of take back a little about what I said. If he wants to make a fool out of himself, yeah, he can say what he wants, but that's stupid stuff he said about the women's program. But you can say that about the NBA in the 80s compared to now. These guys that play now couldn't survive in the 80s.
Yeah, so I mean, so you're saying that you agree with Norm Nixon that they'd have a hard time because of racial inequality. Are you agreeing with him actually?
I'd have to think about that. I'm not sure what he means by that. I mean,
Yeah,
the
I'm
league
not-
was mostly black. The league's been mostly black since the 70s. So
Yeah, I
I'm not
got
sure what he
something to
means.
say with that. That New York was all black, and the whole debate of it was like when they had it with Boston and all that kind of stuff with the players of the 80s, that they were like there was people they were interviewing, and it was on the Magic versus Bird 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Or whatever the thing is, they was over there and they were saying, I think there's too many black players for the white people, that craziness. But the big thing about it is the only thing that we can think about is when Craig Hodges lost his career basically because he was talking about some certain inequality after 1992. He had to go into 1993 with a generic jersey going to the 3-point contest, and he never did it again and he didn't have a team. And there's those things like that. So yeah, but there's more to it than that surface. There's too many with these the racial inequality arguments and everything. There's too many surface arguments that they try to make to it, and it's too complicated.
Yeah. And he showed a lot of courage when he wouldn't go to the White House. I don't know. I forget who was president at the time. Maybe Bush. But yeah, you're right. There used to be a lot more great white hope in basketball than there is now, I think. So hopefully we've grown a little bit past that. Bill Walton used to always hate that when they would say that about him.
Okay. All right, we'll go around the horn with the rest of the topic.
Marvin. Marvin's about to say something. I want to speak on this topic too.
Yeah, so I think what he's
I said we were gonna do that. Go ahead, Tony.
I think what he's saying is even though it's the 1980s and you had civil rights laws that were passed in the 60s, that meant nothing. You still had industries, you still had certain organizations that operated Jim Crow, and it is what it is. I mean, 1980s ownership basketball was the Good Old Boys Network. That's the bottom line. And the Players Association, what isn't what it is today. You know what I mean? So he's absolutely right. These players today, they don't understand racism or civil rights or anything like that. They don't get that because of the day that they live in. They're making buku money, that you only could dream about. You know what I'm saying? They live in the digital world. They're digital kings on social media and in these platforms. They're still black. Don't get me wrong. And if they mess up, they're going to find out that they black. But the reality is they got so much money that they're living a life that is almost transcends race. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to the 80s where, again, these players, the association isn't what it is. The TV contracts aren't what they are. You got the big guys still making money, but you may have guys who play in the NBA and got part-time jobs in the off season. You know what I'm saying? So it's such a different world in so many different ways. Yeah. That's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, Marvin's right. Let me add one more thing to that. I don't mean to interrupt you there, Tony. But yeah, Marvin's right. I didn't really understand what this was, the context of this conversation. But it reminds me of a story I wrote recently. Willie Taggart, when he was the coach at South Florida, I was able to interview him before they played at Michigan State. And Willie Taggart understood the history of Michigan State leading college football integration under Duffy Daugherty, the Underground Railroad. and he said this is hallowed ground that he was going to, and he was looking forward to it. And he also told me that he told his players that whatever challenges they face, as black players, whatever challenges they face, they have no idea what the players back in the 60s and before that faced.
Tommy, I know you got to get rolling. So why don't you give us your Shanahan report real quickly, then we'll let Jacob do his pundits. But I want to make sure we get Tommy out at a reasonable time. Thanks for hanging out with us a couple of minutes. Go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, go to my website, tomshanahan.report, and my Twitter handle is Shanny4055.
Beautiful. All right, Tommy, look forward to seeing you, obviously, on Tuesday night on Inside the Pigskin. Well done. And also, Tommy's a writer for the South Florida Tribune as well. His stories are absolutely fantastic. We connect all the dots with his links and all that. So go ahead and check out Tom Shanahan. And I hope he generates all the ideas from these shows to put in his shows. So, because this guy is outstanding. I've known him a while. That's what great friends are for. Tommy, great stuff. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks
buddy.
a lot.
You're welcome.
All right, Tom.
All right, now down to Tony. You want to get some thoughts in there? Then we'll go to Jacob real quick, and then Scott, we'll need you a few minutes longer if you don't mind, please, so that we can round out the show with stuff that's pertinent to what we're doing. Can you do that? That's great. So, all right, Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, when it comes to Norm Nixon, I think just naturally things get easier for each generation. So I understand what he's saying with that, but I also feel like older people should be careful with discrediting what challenges the younger generation do face. I'm sure, like you said, Marvin, you're still black in America, no matter how much money you make. And yeah, you might not be getting talked about personally, but like you said, they're digital. Hey, some of them comments can get pretty brutal. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things people say to you, yeah, they might not be able to say it to your face, but it's just a different kind of issue now. You feel me? But you just gotta be careful comparing bad things happening to you, right? You want to be sympathetic to everybody and what everybody has going on. But I get what he's saying. It's easier you feel like it gets easier for each generation, but it's just different troubles.
All right, Scott, what's your take on this?
My take's a little different than everybody else's take. Gee, what a shock, right? I want to know what predicated Nixon to speak on the subject.
Right.
Because we don't talk about today much about the race game in the NBA. And I'd like to know what made him come out with that out of the blue. It's not an issue that society is dealing with today. Today's NBA player isn't fighting racial inequality to the best of my knowledge. I haven't heard anything in the last bundle of years, but I wonder if Nixon still bears some ill will toward the game or toward people that he worked with back from the 80s, and he's still carrying a chip on his shoulder.
Hey, by the way, Scott, you have a request. Well, hold on, Marvin. Here's a request from Earl. Show him that shirt. Yeah, get up, stand up, show him the shirt. I'll let you do it.
Me?
Yeah.
You.
You want to know what your shirt says?
Let's know what your shirt says. All right, what is it?
Swag over luck. It's when we beat Notre Dame 40
There you
days.
go. So there you go, Earl. We got to make sure we appease our people in the chat room, Scotty. Okay, go ahead, Marvin. You wanted to add something to it real quick?
Listen, Norm came up in a tough time, is what he's saying. And to be honest with you, you have a lot of older players who get jealous of the younger players, jealous just because these players came 20 years too late, or 20 years too soon. You know what I'm saying? My dad used to always say that. He wasn't jealous, but he was the highest paid player in the league. And then 2 years after he retired, that number went up times 4. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like these players, man, they these great players are seeing these guys making so much money just in the game and sponsorships online, on podcasts, guest appearances. I mean, the money that NBA players is out of this world. I love it. Only in America. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it sounds like Norm may be a little jealous, just to be honest with you, man. And there's more of that than you think.
You're welcome, Earl. All right, Candy, quick thoughts, and then we got to get.
I gotta
Jacob
go.
on.
I have to go. I need to.
All right, well, give me your pundit's pundit. You
Okay,
wanna
yeah,
give
no
it?
problem. No problem, D. One of the things I've noticed about this is there's people this year that about the Buffalo Bills that complain about Josh Allen getting himself married, and he got married to Haley Steinfeld. He's going to get himself a kid and everything like that. They said that was the reason he was quote unquote bad. Man, never mind the injuries, never mind everything. Here's the thing to the fans for 1 second. If you think about this, why was Roger Federer so great? A wife, and then he had kids later, and she was his manager, and it's everything like that kept him in line. You see so many of these athletes, the ones that are the most successful, usually the most successful, with a couple of exceptions, they have the wife. Jack Nicklaus is the greatest of all time. I'm going to say it forever, but he had a solid family life. This was the big thing. Tiger could have destroyed all of his records, but things happened on his end, and he didn't realize any of this stuff. And if he would have kept with the same thing that Jack had, that with the same stability that Jack had, he would have destroyed Jack's records. It does not hurt to say a wife can help you. It does not say a woman can help you. It does not hurt to say that at all. Don't listen to the fans. Go with it.
All right,
Barbara
Jacob.
Nicholas is an absolute gem of a woman.
Who is?
Barbara Nicholas.
Yeah, I've heard that.
All right,
Absolute
Jacob.
gem.
We'll see you tomorrow night on Sports Wrap Hockey. All right,
care.
you ready for that one? I got a loaded show. All right.
Take care of yourself.
All right, take care. Have a good
All right,
night.
Jacob.
All right. Now down to 5. We're going to go through rapid fire because there's some really good topics. We'll get. Thanks for hanging with me a little longer, Scotty. Tom Penny on your NBA and a lot of college football that will apply. All right, let's start to it. Okay. Now, Larry Bird says the NBA needs to be international. Okay. Some thoughts, Marvin.
Yeah, I hear him. I mean, because what you're seeing are all the best players getting drafted early. I mean, all these European players from overseas, I feel like they dominate the NBA draft, at least the top of it. And what he's saying is let's get our brand to where these kids are. This is about business. This isn't about basketball. This isn't about the NBA. He understands how to grow this league and how to make some money. So that rapid fire, that makes sense to me, Larry Bird.
Candy.
The NFL has marketed themselves as a genius because they have expanded into the international. The NBA needs to follow suit.
Tony.
I mean, I feel like it's happening, right? They do 2 to 3 games in Paris every year. They open up preseason in China. I don't know if he means like putting teams internationally to make it like a conference, like a world conference. But I think that should be coming down the pipeline too, because they have feeder programs like the NBA Africa. So it's coming, Larry Bird. Just chill. You got to build the infrastructure.
Scotty.
I don't think the NBA needs to go to Europe. I don't think it would necessarily work long term. I mean, the NFL tried it with the World League of American Football,
Right.
and they weren't drawing in the European cities as much as they thought they were going to. Yeah, for one game that they play at Wembley Stadium every year, or 2 games at Wembley Stadium, yeah, they'll draw a sellout crowd. But can they do that consistently, night in and night out, at an NBA arena in London? I don't think so.
Okay. Great stuff. All right, let's continue on. Fox, Drew Brees is joining full time with the Adam Amin. Obviously, that he went out there and got involved with the Lions of the Viking game on Netflix. The Fox lineup actually includes Tom Brady, Greg Olsen, and Brees. What are your thoughts about this group, Marvin?
I mean, you're talking about with Brady and Brees, you're talking about 2 of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. I mean, Tom Brady is considered the GOAT, 7 championships, multiple championships with multiple teams. Well, one with the Bucks, one with 6 with the Patriots. Drew Brees at one point was the all-time leading passer. We see that number, get broken almost every week now, seems like. But at one point, I mean, this guy, Drew Brees is probably the biggest pro athlete probably ever, in my opinion, in Louisiana, just in the fact that he was able to bring the Saints a championship. Listen, I played for the Saints, man. I know how down those people are, and I know how tough that how hard it is for that organization. To bring the Saints a championship, especially after Katrina, listen, that guy's huge. Two huge brands, two big quarterbacks. Fox hit a home run with that.
Candy.
I enjoy listening to former players talk about what's happening and what's going on and calling the game from an inside perspective that other people don't always bring. Yes, maybe Brady wasn't the best at first because I've heard a lot of people say that, in the beginning he just wasn't as good, but that he's gotten a lot better. But I do enjoy some of the insights that they can bring that those of us like me who have never played in the NFL can gather some intel from him.
Tony.
I heard Drew Brees on call one game. I forgot what it was, and he is a natural. Like I just couldn't pick up his voice. That was the only thing that threw me off. I was like, who is this talking? Because I'm enjoying him call this game. Fox saw CBS bring in Tony Romo, and Tony Romo called the plays before they happened and said, you know what? Hold my beer. We're going to get two Tony Romos, and one's going to be the GOAT. So it's pretty good. I like Drew Brees, and I even like Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen was the guy before Tom Brady and Drew Brees got there, and I enjoyed him too. So if Fox got any games for the NFL Sunday, they have good commentators. Because I like Mark Schlereth too, by the way, just to throw him in there.
Hey, Scott, and we only have two more topics to get to. That's all we have left of the show. Great pace, enjoying it very much. Scott, some thoughts?
I enjoy listening to former players do color commentary, but I think Tom Brady sometimes speaks over everyone's head. And he needs to have someone explain what he's talking about. He might understand it, but the average football fan doesn't. I only get about 75% of what he says, and I consider myself to have graduated with a master's degree in college in pro football. But I think Greg Olsen is the better of the two.
Yeah, you know what? I like Greg Olsen a lot too. Obviously, they threw Brady an awful lot of money. Go ahead, Tony. You want to respond back?
Hey, Scott, Mr. Solomon, you feel like maybe Tom Brady should go John Madden and bring out the yellow marker?
I don't know about the yellow marker, but I think he needs to break it down a little bit more simplified for the average viewer.
Yeah.
The average viewer doesn't do podcasts.
Yeah.
The average viewer listens to podcasts.
I feel you. Yeah, he's like his own commercial when it was like, if you had Tom Brady's knowledge, it'll be too much.
Exactly.
Like he's living his own commercial right now.
Right.
Okay. All right. Two more topics I want to get to. NFL, bizarre NFC South. Boy, Scott and I know all about it, don't we, pal? Well, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Atlanta. It took Carolina to get into the playoffs. They're hosting the LA Rams. My goodness, we're going to be talking about this, obviously, in the coming days, Scott. But what are your thoughts about the fact that the Carolina Panthers got in and the Bucs didn't get in, much less the fact that an 8-9 team did get in? That's really what it comes down to. I mean, you have Atlanta, their coach is gone. Carolina gets in. Tampa Bay, well, we'll talk about them at a later date, but they don't lose their coach. Scott, lead it off, please.
First thing is, Tony's a much better looking guy without that Carolina Panthers hat.
Oh, no. This makes me sexy, Scott.
Carolina deserves to be there. They only won 8 games, but it's a lot more than they've won in the past. And Tampa Bay couldn't get the deal closed. They won the last game by the grace of God. Certainly not by the effort on the field. And I'd like to see what's going to come of it next year. I think that if there's another 8-9 season next year, or another loss of 5 out of the first 7 games, you're going to see Todd Bowles holding up the unemployment line.
Makes sense. Okay, go ahead, Tony.
Well. Nah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm happy that the Panthers are in. I'm not happy that they backed in. I wanted them to take care of their own business. It felt so crazy cheering for the Falcons Saturday. But it's the rules. I do feel like it's been more chatter about switching the playoff format to keep teams like Carolina or teams that's been under 500 from getting a playoff game, home game. That is tough for a Rams team that won 12 games. But I'm happy. As you can see, I went down there, got rained on for an hour and a half straight. I'm going to rep my Panthers proud, man. Let's go. Hopefully we can get this upset Saturday.
Candy.
I think it's cool that Carolina is now in the playoffs. I have heard little birdie told me that Cam is going to make an appearance at the beginning of the game. I think he's going to get him going. I forget what is it that they do in the beginning? They
bang the drum.
They bang the drum. So Cam is going to be banging the drum. I heard on Saturday. It's just exciting to see. Tampa Bay lost this game because they lost heart. They've lost the last couple of games. Yes, they won the game against them, but they didn't take care of business earlier. Carolina is up and coming. Kudos to them for making the playoffs. Let's see how far they can go.
I'm just happy for Dave Canales that obviously he goes from Tampa to Carolina. It shows that he was the guy that was able to fix Bryce Young. So go ahead, Marvin.
Listen, it was exciting being at the Saints-Falcons game this weekend because these are teams who are going nowhere, but there's a lot riding on it, right, in the NFL. And I was rooting heavy for my Saints. They couldn't pull it off. Listen, Tony, I heard you mention the word hope. Hope is not a strategy. I got a feeling that Matt Stafford and them boys are about to come out to Carolina and run through y'all. Literally.
Just chill, man. Let me enjoy these next couple days.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Don't put no money on it.
Couple days.
Don't put no money on none of this for nobody.
Because honestly, Marvin,
yeah,
I'm a Panthers fan, but I know a little football. We have a Tyler Shuck problem in the future. Let me enjoy this moment, okay?
I hear you, man. I hear you. But no, this I'm expecting a good game. Actually, I am. I think that LA comes out on top, though.
Okay, anybody that I haven't called on with this topic? Good. All right, last one of the night. That being this, the last national championship. Okay, the remaining college football playoff teams. Miami got their last one in 2001. Ole Miss 1960. That was even before I was born. Okay, Indiana, well, never had one, and neither has Oregon. So with that said, Marvin, who's going to go ahead and break that spell?
Listen, I've been saying all year, especially after we played them, that Oregon is a team that no one's talking about. But Indiana looks so good. I mean, they kicking butt consistently. I watched them play against Ohio State. I watched them just destroy Alabama in a way that lets you know Alabama is no longer Alabama when it's been gone. That's a whole other team now. Our program's different. Indiana, man. Indiana right now is the money. That quarterback is for real. Their offensive line play is for real. Their playmaking ability at corner and receiver is real. Their defensive front is real. These guys is big. They're tough. They got athletes. Indiana's about to come through and make history.
Candy?
I may not have lived in that state very long, but they're the ones that are going to win it. I lived there for a whole year and a half. Indiana's going to take it. As much as I want Miami, I think Indiana's that strong. 14-0. I mean, they and like Marvin said, they took care of business against Alabama. I think Indiana's going to take it.
Tony?
Oh, once again, I'm going to lean on my hope for my Miami Hurricanes. I am hoping that they win, but I feel like they'll come up short. And they will play they'll be the first team to play the national championship game at home. Right. But I do think that they lose to Indiana. Indiana just looks like a well-oiled machine. They look like what Alabama used to look like. And I'm a fan of history and dominant teams. And I kind of want to see them be the first team to go 16-0.
That was a loaded response. I like it. Very good stuff, Tony. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I'm a big believer in Kirk Signetti. I like what he's done at Indiana. I like Mendoza. He's a good kid, but not so fast.
Hey,
Miami Hurricanes are going to win the national championship. You heard it here first. They're going to take care of business against Ole Miss on Thursday. And then come January 19th, whether they play Indiana or we have the Mario Cristobal Bowl and they play Oregon, we're going to win it.
You know what? I'm doubling up with you. Remember, once upon a time, the Miami Hurricanes were underdogs in Nebraska back in the day with Howard Schnellenberger. Well, they played that game in Miami at the Orange Bowl. Some reason or another, if Miami, well, when Miami hopefully gets there, they'll be playing at Hard Rock Stadium, and you're going to see an awful lot of Hurricane fans there. I'm going with the Canes, too. I have a hard time. I know that Kirk Signetti is a story of the year. I get it. Who knows? Maybe he will win it. But Miami over at Hard Rock Stadium in a championship game, that's just too difficult for me to go against. It really, truly is. All right. That does it for this edition of the Sports Exchange. With that said, okay, Marvin, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
You can catch me on social media, Marvin Powell III. Marvin on the mic is my handle. You can catch me here with the South Florida Tribune Tuesday evenings and Wednesday mornings and Wednesday evenings as well. Saturday mornings, you can catch me on Locked On USC twice a week, and you can catch me on Roundtable with the Jags, the Bucks, the Nets, and the Kings.
Go ahead, Tony.
oh yes, you can find me Talking Game 1 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Tony Talking Game on YouTube. Monday nights I'm here talking baseball. Wednesdays I have Talking Game at 3:30, and then at 9:00 you'll find me here on the Sports Exchange. Saturdays you'll see my wrestling podcast and my homie Rainey, Two Raw for SmackDown, and yeah, streaming live on all those. We're streaming live right now on Twitter, so make sure y'all hit that repost for everybody.
There you go. Like he reposts ours every so often when he's on Twitter. Much appreciated. Well, like I said, Mario Cristobal's a man on a mission. He really is, and the biggest thing is he preaches violence. That's why he goes out there and does things. So,
Yep.
I don't know. Kurt Signetti is a great story, and Indiana has been a great story. We'll never know, but there'll certainly be some intrigue. But Miami has to take care of business with Ole Miss. I would not go ahead and sell Ole Miss short. There's going to be, they won't have most of their coaches, but the two that I understand that are coming back, Charlie Weiss Jr. and I believe Kevin Smith, right, are the two that will be over at the Fiesta Bowl. All right, Scott, last but not least, go ahead. You're involved in a lot. Now's the chance to promote our joint endeavor.
I can be reached on Twitter at Scott Solomon NFL. I can also be found at Roundtable Sports. Go to jagsroundtable.com for all of your Jacksonville Jaguars playoff news. You can also follow us on Kings Roundtable and Nets Roundtable for your basketball fetishes. And also, if you want more football, you can go to bucksroundtable.com and get all of your Tampa Bay Bucks news that you ever wanted to know.
And I'm the executive producer and broadcaster for all of everything that goes on the air. Scott, glad to have that role, and certainly looking forward to seeing it expand as time progresses here in 2026. With that said, Katie, go ahead and take us the rest of the way.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the media and how it has evolved and changed, old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you'd like to advertise or be on a show, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Last but not least, if you see that red subscribe button, click it, like us, share us, and tell all your friends about it, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. We love all the interaction in the chat room. And one last thing, if you like football, how could you not like the next couple of days? Tomorrow night, Hurricanes versus Ole Miss. Friday night, Indiana versus Oregon. Saturday, we're going to have NFL. We're going to have the Rams versus the Panthers, the Packers versus the Bears. And then on Sunday, the Bills versus the Jags, 49ers versus the Eagles, Chargers versus the Pats. And then Monday, the Texans versus the Steelers. Does it get much better than that? The only thing would be better is if maybe your team isn't in there. If they would be in there. But enjoy.
All right, well, that does it for us tonight. Look forward to a definitely busy part of programming tomorrow. We'll start off with Sports Wrap, our hockey show, then turn it over to Candy and the Country Club. So that does it for us tonight. See you next week on the Sports Exchange. Take care, everybody, and have a great football weekend and enjoy all the NBA developments as well. We try to add a little bit of light to that as well. Take care, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll catch you the next time. Bye now.